Are you safe? Are you settled? Are you surrounded by candlelight? I was told that some tales are not to be told in the darkness, and this is one of them. Many moons ago, before the great snows of the north had frozen over the mountains and turned them to ice, the lands were covered in woods as far as the eyes could see. Deep in the depths of the forest, there was a village filled with good people. During the days, they gathered roots, nuts, and mushrooms from the undergrowth, and caught hares and weasels for meat and fur. At night time, they would shut their gates and hide in the great hall, lighting a mighty fire to scare off the beasts that howled in the darkness. Life was like this for many generations, and the people of the village knew peace. Then, at midwinter one year, when the veils betwixt the lands were thinnest, a child was born. His mother named him Vakra, and he was a troublesome child. He was always stealing or playing pranks on others. No matter how hard he was beaten, he never changed his ways. He grew up to be a handsome young man who dared other boys to do stupid things and laughed at them when they hurt themselves. The elders were wary of him, for Vakra thought himself cleverer than everyone else in the village. One night, as the villagers huddled around the fire, and the howls of the night beasts were at their fiercest, Vakra turned to the elders. Have any of you ever actually gone out at night and simply asked the wolves to leave us alone? Don't be stupid, boy. They'd gobble up anyone who tried, one elder said, their beard long and grey. Well, I'm going to try, Vakra said, and walked right out of the room into the darkness. The villagers stayed inside, and it was not long until the screaming started. They heard his cries of terror, and the gnashing and wailing, and his mother mourned him, for she loved her son, despite his troublesome nature. Outside the walls, Vakra was sat, screaming out in mock pain as he bashed bones against each other and pretended to be eaten. What a fine jest this is, he thought. Those simple fools. I shall go back in a minute, and they will all see how brave and clever I am. He heard a snapping twig behind him, and spun to find himself surrounded by giant black wolves with teeth as long as knives. You are outside, little human, without fire. That was silly of you. The oldest of the wolves, with grey hair in their muzzle, called out in a sing-song voice. I do not fear you. I have come to ask you to leave the village alone. No, the wolf said, and devoured him on the spot. Vakra's soul watched his body lie mangled on the ground and cursed his own stupidity. If only I was still alive. I might be able to help with that, a voice spoke from the shadows. Stepping out into the moonlight was a pale-skinned man, with dark spiked hair and a body covered in the spirals of woad. Who are you? Vakra asked. One who delights in helping others, almost as much as you delighted in hindering them. I will offer you immortal life if you choose it. Will you accept my gift? Yes, Vakra replied eagerly. The shadowy figure looked over at Vakra's torn body, most of the flesh eaten from the bones, and his clothes no more than tatters, and frowned. "This will not do," the stranger said. He then took vines from the trees and wove them into the bones of the corpse, allowing it to stand. "But I have no head," Vakra cried, seeing that the wolves had run off with his, leaving only a single eye on the ground. "Ah, I can fix that," the stranger said, reaching into the undergrowth and pulling forth the skull of a stag, complete with antlers, and affixing it to the body. Finally, he reached down and plucked Vakra's eye from his body and put it in his pocket. "Hey, that's mine," Vakra complained. "It is my price. Now, go into your new body." The stranger waved his hand, and Vakra found himself being pulled back into his flesh, now cold and sticky with sap where blood used to flow. He could not remember his previous life, nor any person that he had ever known. All he knew was a deep and unending hunger, and all he could smell was the flesh of the villagers. "You're welcome," said the stranger.